Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Monday. Today is Monday, August 1st. It is the very first Monday of the month. Woo, what a great day to be alive. Yesterday was my son's 10th birthday. I went to buy him a bike. He wants a new bicycle. He's outgrown his other bicycle. And you know what? I was sticker shocked basically at how expensive it was. And this bike, like many bikes, was made in China and it was 30% more expensive than it would have been a bit ago. So I was like, wow, holy mackerel. Unbelievable, really. Really unbelievable. But here we are. And that brings me to today's topic, which are tariffs. On Friday, the president announced basically his much talked about August 1st tariff deadline. And he slapped a bunch of tariffs on countries. He actually modified a lot, actually, for the long term. Cambodia went from 49 to 19%, Malaysia from 24 to 19. So tariffs actually went down in that way. Bangladesh 37 to 20, Taiwan 32 to 20, India 26, 25. By the way, Taiwan's tariff going down from 32 to 20 means that iPhones will go down a little bit in price vis-a-vis semiconductors. Switzerland has now went from 31 to 39%. That means that watches are going to be more expensive. 39, basically 40% more expensive. So for you hotshots that care about watches, that $5,000 Rolex or whatever those things cost now is going to cost about $7,000. Also, those Ray-Ban, those Meta, those new virtual reality sunglasses will also be 40% more expensive. Laos has gone down from 48 to 40%, Myanmar from 44 to 40%. You're going to get a lot of basically clothing items there. And a couple of other things that are worth talking about here. Mexico and Canada are two very big outstanding parties here. And with Mexico, he basically paused for 90 days famously. And look, you have to understand NAFTA, and which Trump renegotiated in his first term, basically stitched Canada, the US, and Mexico together, basically one manufacturing block, if you will. So basically what's happening is with that one manufacturing block here, we have a situation where Mexico, he's paused any tariff for another 90 days, but it seems to be Canada, seems almost personal, really. He's actually increased tariffs on Canada. He's really trying to give it to the Canadians. I'm not exactly sure I understand that. He says it's because of fentanyl, but come on, let's be realistic. So it's not fentanyl, come on, that's not real. He actually boosted exports, Canada, from 25% to 35% starting Friday. So that is really pretty intense. It really seems to have a bone to pick with Canada. It's interesting. A lot of folks have asked me in my personal circle, why are all these deals, why do we focus on energy with all these deals? The South Korea trade deal has energy in it. They have to buy energy. Japan has to buy energy. The EU has to buy energy. Why is energy so important? It's a very good question. We know that climate change is real. Even people on the far right even admit that. The only debate now is, will stopping gas consumption help it? Can we create tools that will do it? One of the big things that makes energy very important is, for AI, energy is critical, obviously. And we don't have infrastructure for EV energy yet. But here's the thing. What we found out in our competition with China was that China gained a massive financial comparative advantage in cost in manufacturing, let's say EVs. They got a big advantage over us. We cannot manufacture EVs. We don't have the infrastructure, the scale, trillions of dollars to build it. We can't manufacture EVs at scale and the electric vehicles basically like China has done, because they've spent the last 20 years basically investing in that and subsidizing companies that do it. What we can do basically is we do have a massive comparative advantage in oil and energy that way, trillions of dollars over time. So what we're trying to do really is tie our allies to our comparative advantage in energy to make sure that the world stays really more old school energy efficient, because that's where we have our comparative advantage. And I guess the powers that be on the right have decided that we're going to really break it down and make this all about, we've actually taken the opposite side. We're going to have EVs if people want to make them, but we're not going to subsidize the creation of EVs. What we're going to do is focus where we have the massive advantage, which is an old school energy. And it really seems to be drawn that way, the battle lines, which is why we really pushed Europe to buy energy, because we know that China's EVs could flood Europe's market. And we're saying to ourselves, look, basically, we want to make sure you stay with us, stay with oil, stay with our comparative advantage over China. We don't want to cede that battlefield where they just sweep across Europe with EVs, basically. It's very interesting to see how this plays out, continues to play out. Also, finally, the last little thing I'll touch on is a lot of folks have written in saying, how can you say he nailed the EU deal? There's no written agreement. None of these deals have written agreements. No specifics based on timelines. Congress isn't approved. And that's a fair point. It's a fair criticism. Look, at the end of the day, even having these tariffs up and this stuff during the rest of his presidency, even if the next guy came in there or next girl came in there and actually reversed them all, it's going to change trade flows in significant ways. So it is going to matter, which is why the president has been moving with such speed to redo this economic system that he inherited. Anyway, that's all I have for this Monday. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.